what we have here is a human design experience, and we are looking at the chart of my. There are going to be a lot of things that we've run over today during this experience, but let's cut it off by two very clearly distinctive experiences. Part one is everything you need to know to start experimenting with your design. And then part two is just brain candy. So part one is understanding how you say your yes and no. And then part two is just brain candy. So let's go ahead and get into one of the words that we need to start with that really isn't, it's actually part of part two, but we have to say it at the beginning. Anyways, you are a generator. At the intellectual level, we're not supposed to understand what that means. But deep down, your DNA, your DNA understands what that is. So you're a generator. Just like the astrology community, I'm a Capricorn. I don't know what that means, but to an astrologer, there's definitely a larger meaning as to what Capricorn means. So that's what we have here. Generator, it actually does tell a lot about you. But I just want you to hear the word. You are a generator, Mai. All right. Let's move into what is considered everything that you need to know to start saying yes and no with your energy. Luckily enough, we can kind of lump yours into one part. But the most important part about, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So strategy and authority, it doesn't matter if we're talking to Mai, it doesn't matter if we're talking to anybody else in chat. Strategy and authority is how you say your yes and no, Mai. Strategy and authority, to respond, your sacral. So this is your way that your energy says your yes and no, and how it is able to clearly make decisions for you. That's how you say your yes and no. That's your choice mechanism. So once again, it doesn't matter who we're talking to. Strategy and authority is always your choice mechanism. So, how do you say your yes and no, Mai? Let's get into it. Well, firstly, the strategy, way to respond in your sacral. I'm just going to lump it into one thing, really. Firstly, we're going to interrupt our natural behavior by waiting. So, what I'm saying is that we are conditioned over our life to act a certain way during certain situations, or we are raised to believe that we always need to be doing something with our energy, so we start to force our energy and what we think we should be doing with it. So, what you're doing is interrupting the conditioning by waiting to respond, to see what your energy actually has to say. What is your aura doing? What is your energy saying? What is your energy telling you? Instead of what is your monkey brain telling you to do based on lifetime conditioning? Instead of what is your aura telling you based on what's correct for your energy? So, to respond, let's talk about what a respond sounds like or feels like. Well, a response isn't, an internal question asking yourself something. So you're in your own head. Do I want to buy a ticket to that thing? So, that's not a way that you can respond asking yourself a question. That's literally going up in your brain, thinking about what you should be doing with your energy. No. What responding is like, well, we do have these internal functions, like you gotta go pee, you gotta poop, you gotta eat, you gotta, maybe something scares you and you move away from it. Maybe you feel like something is skeezy and you just like move away from it. Maybe you feel something is healthy and you move towards it. So it's like these movements, or sorry, these natural occurrences in your body. So like that is a response, but that's pretty much the only internal ones that you're gonna get, is like your bodily functions. But a response is always something of the external. Yeah, you're allowed to think, oh, I want to have this, I want to have that, I want to have this, I want to have that, but um, initiating it and jumping on it and forcing it isn't what we're talking about. So, responding is, your aura has the capability of attracting things to you in life, bringing people, places, things, and experiences to you. I'm not saying to disengage with life and stop doing things. No, you need to go out, take walks, and do your job, whatever. But yeah, an external response, is like maybe a friend asked you a question. Maybe your puppers is whining and you're like, why are you whining? So you get up to try to figure it out. You respond that you are officially tired and it's time to go to bed. You respond to hopping into a specific chat when your go live notifications happen. There's many different ways that you can respond. Like I said, there was this environmental cue. Your dog is, in my opinion, the environmental cue. Your environment cued you to do something when your dog whimpered. And like, so you have these people cues, people literally asking you things, or just things that just pass you by that you're just, ooh, it's frilly. I want to see if I want to do that. So yeah, respond. But then you wait. You wait to respond instead of like acting on it immediately. Ooh, I want to buy that thing, that ticket. It's so fun. It looks so great. Um, but did you even ask if your energy has, sorry, did you even ask if your aura has any energy for that? So, um, but what you're doing here, waiting to respond. So, responding, it's these internal cues, usually bodily functions. And then these external cues are just like environmental cues, people cueing you, or just things that might interest you as life passes you by. And what does it sound like to you? It sounds like uh-huh, or uh-uh, or oh. You are born into a different language, so those may sound different. Your yeses and nos. Um, so what does that sound like to you? Maybe if you don't know, the answer is or and that's okay. So maybe you just don't know and you don't have to answer. Maybe the question was just asked to you in a wrong way. Maybe when you are physically standing in front of something and you're like and you're like walking away from it, your body is actually keeping yourself healthy right there, because you have this consistent access to what is healthy for you in your aura, which is nice for you. So you really do have these guttural sounds. Now, for me, I was conditioned away from these sounds because my parents told me that those guttural grunts like uh-huh and uh-uh are just, they're primal and they're not correct for society. So use your yes, use your no, or I'm just going to slap your hand when you don't. So my guttural sounds were deconditioned out of me, and a lot of people's sounds were deconditioned out of them as well. So a way for a person to get reintroduced to their own energy is to have someone that you trust external to you ask you questions that you know the clear yes and no answer to. Like, what is your favorite food? Ask the person. My Do you like sushi? And then yes or no. And then would you prefer to eat meat? I believe you're vegan, so I believe that answer should be no. But like, did your body by chance say uh-huh? Do you need meat right now? I know it sounds so weird, but like, did your body respond to uh-huh, or is your body satisfied with the amounts of nutrition that you're putting into your body? Um So when we're talking about a response, it's just like this uh-huh and uh-uh. And once again, it's these internal cues. Like my stomach right now is like cueing me, I guess. It's rumbling. Am I hungry? A little. Am I going to eat when I'm done streaming? Yeah, I'm going to respond to doing that. Um, Now, I'm actually going into a little bit of a synthesis that I shouldn't be talking about, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. If you can see that red square attached to that brown triangle, it is connected with that black line in between. That channel, that line, gives, or like, that is some life force energy that's giving you consistent access to understand what is healthy for you or not. And you are conscious of this experience. So, you, my friendo, have access to understand what's healthy for you or not. So, you have this instantaneous knowing in the moment that really can keep you healthy and safe. So, I just said that if somebody appears in a group and you find yourself taking steps away from them, that is a clear indication that your spleen is like, yo, I don't like this and I'm stepping away from it. It's not healthy for me. So your body's naturally going to do these movements for you. So, for example, for me, because I have connection to this as well, so I understand it nicely, when I touch my lips, I realize that I'm checking to see if I'm dehydrated. So I usually take a drink of water and then I put on some lip gloss because I'm dehydrated. I'm touching my lips for a reason. So let's just say that you are randomly doing something and then you find yourself, without realizing it, going into a different direction. And you're like, oh crap, what was I doing? Why did I even go that way? Well, I was literally just doing something here and then my body just turned that way. That's your body keeping you healthy and safe. So, for example, let's just say that I was going to bed. And then before I went to bed, my body stopped and grabbed a few peanuts along the way. By the way, I'm anaphylactic. I would never do that. But like maybe my body needed the fat. Maybe my body needed the protein. Maybe my body needed the salt or something. So, but like as I was walking to bed and that was my intention, my hand grabbed the bowl of nuts and threw them in my mouth. Meow. And then I continued. So like that's what I'm talking about. My intention was to go to bed, but my hand inadvertently or unconsciously grabbed some nuts and ate them. So that's what I'm talking about. It's like this movement in the moment. So this instantaneous movement in the moment, it's this knowing that you can't ask it again to show you. It's just like saying, so this like health ping or like this intuitive ping for you, it's not going to happen again. And it's actually very, 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 very quiet. Let me tell you another example. I got to learn one of my intuitive pings. Matey asked me to do something. I didn't want to do it, but I did it anyways. The little groan out of my mouth was like, and I ended up hurting myself. And then opportunity number 2, I love climbing stuff. And anywho, he asked me to climb up the mountain with him. And I'm like, But anyways, I did it and I fell down a little bit of the mountain. I hurt my wrist. I just slid down a little bit. It's not like I rolled or anything. But I did hurt my wrist. So like, there was 2 other times shortly after that where Matey asked me to go downstairs. And even though I love helping him and doing everything with him and for him, he asked me to go downstairs. And I was like, And I was like, actually, Matey, I'm not going to go downstairs right now. He's like, why? I'm like, because my energy just, I'm going to get hurt if I go downstairs right now. I'm sorry. So there was another experience where him and I were walking on a trail and we were talking about walking backwards down or up a hill. And he asked me to do it with him. And my body was like, it did that little cue again. So I was like, babes, I can't do that right now. I'm sorry. Maybe later in the walk I can do it. So like maybe a kilometer later, I found myself like walking up and down the hill. So maybe I was going to get hurt in that position, in that particular part of the trail. I don't know. But I started to listen to that little whine for sure. So I'm not saying that your whine is going to be what keeps you safe, but like maybe like when you grab something and you like, before you even grab it, you like pull your hand back. Or maybe you're a person who doesn't wear their seatbelt, wear your seatbelt. And that one day you wore your seatbelt and you got in a fucking crash. Yeah, I didn't wear my seatbelt as a kid younger because I got a bad habit from my mom. And the day that I got in a freaking accident, I wore my belt. Why am I wearing my belt today? She says. I don't know. I got in a pretty darn good accident that day. So your spleen is keeping you healthy, is what I'm saying. Long story short, you have this aha and that you can respond to in the moment, moment by moment by moment. And if you are using your energy correctly, then you are going to allow your purpose to flow through you. But when you're using your energy incorrectly, you're going to see frustration. When you're trying to force your energy, when you are forcing what you think you should be doing with your energy, you will see frustration. So, your strategy and your inner authority, your waiting to respond does come from your sacral. Your sacral is that red square there. Yeah. So then we have the sacral, but it is from the sacral, that red square there. Waiting to respond does come from your red square there. So, your sacral is telling you, if you have this juicy life force energy that is here to tell you if you have the energy to partake or not. Listen, when I say like you're here to wait to respond, that's kind of like, so I'm not allowed to initiate, I'm not allowed to be like a manifester. You are allowed to initiate things in life when you respond to the correct timing of you doing it. But you acting on something immediately and trying to pretend to be a manifester, that's not your energy. So you're here to respond and see if you have energy for the thing that you responded to. Does your sacral have the juicy life force energy? And if it's I don't know. You just don't know right now, and just allow your energy to wait a little bit longer. There's nothing that you need to force unless life is forcing you to force something. So, excuse me. So really, you have this open and enveloping aura where it really attracts things, person, people, places, experience to you in life. And you are like a magnet, and it's more like, what can I choose from the options that have come towards me? It's more like, let me think about what I want and let's see what appears. And if you actually go into our education and read about Gate 30 in our educational stuff, that's so fun. So yeah, I think we are finished part 1. How do you say your yes and no? And Your gut's gonna tell you. And like I said, I believe that you were born into a different language originally, so I don't know what those guttural sounds might sound like for you in your native tongue. So they might sound different for you, but it could feel like this expansion or contraction in your chest up to your navel. But just practice with it. If you have somebody that you feel like you trust, please ask them to ask you questions so that you can start getting reacquainted if you've lost your connection with your gut. Okay, so you're waiting just to interrupt the conditioned behavior that you would normally do, waiting to respond to see what your energy has to say. All right. I actually have a lot of those moments. Why did I chance that? And then something happened. Yeah. I knew I shouldn't have did it. So that is actually part 1. How do you say your yes and no? Start looking for those sounds coming out of you. See if you instantaneously laugh at something, or you're like, ugh. Whenever I have the, ugh, that's my idea. Stop watching, stop doing. Okay, so now that we understand how to say your yes and no, it kind of leads us into part 2. Your incarnation cross is your purpose. So it doesn't matter if we're talking to if we're talking to anybody else in chat, rerunners, lurkers, your incarnation cross is your purpose. And how do you allow your purpose to flow through you? Well, let's just say your body said, uh-huh. If you follow that, uh-huh, you're allowing your purpose to flow through you. If your body said, uh-uh, and you follow that, uh-uh, you're allowing your purpose to flow through you, Mai. And if your body said, uh-uh, so if you wait, then you're still allowing your purpose to flow through you. So decision by decision, moment by moment, you have the opportunity to have your purpose flow through you. Now, if you're trying to force your energy, okay, so let's say your energy said, uh-huh, and you're like, I'm just too scared. I can't do it, and I'm not going to do it. You might see frustration in your life. You are going on the opposite path of what is in alignment for you. So frustration, when you try to force your energy, or if you try to go the way where your mind thinks you should be going, you're going to see frustration in life. So let's rephrase that. Let's say that again. If you're following your energy, your purpose flows through you. If you don't follow your energy, you'll be frustrated and you can feel like you're stumbling. All right, so I'm going to ask you, my 70% of the chat right now, you, myself, we are made up like a generator. That means that 70% of the people here are frustrated with life, with something in life. Mai, I'm going to ask you, where are you frustrated in life? What was the first few things that popped into your head? Because I know there was more than one. What was the first thing that popped into your head? Why are you frustrated? What can you do about it now? Well, let's wait to respond. Now that we know that there's something that we can work on, we're going to interrupt the normal condition and behavior that we normally do to see what we need to do next with our energy or aura. We're not going to try to overthink about what we're going to do. We're just going to allow life to respond. We know that this situation needs fixing, and moment by moment, opportunity by opportunity, you are going to be able to see what you need to do next for that particular situation. Here's an example. I have a doctor's appointment coming up, and I could overthink about all the million things that I'm going to say to my doctor. Or I can just show up and respond to what I say in the moment. Now, if it's a very important appointment with my doctor, I definitely write some things down. But I don't know where I was going with that, but yes. I forget where my spot was. So if you're using your energy correctly, moment by moment, not overthinking the next step, then you're going to, you're allowed to overthink. Just acting on it is a whole different story. Waiting to respond to see what your energy is going to do. And then and then acting on that or not. And then the opposite, if you don't act on what your energy says that you should be doing, then you're going to see frustration. So where are you frustrated in life? Where have you forced your energy, Mai? Where do you see yourself frustrated, angry, or disappointed? Where or what could change? Now, like I said, now that you see that there's frustration, maybe it's a possibility that things can change. All right. Now, we are in the brain candy aspect of everything now. I know I just said that twice, but you have a single definition. Single definition, it doesn't really, I'm not going to explain it or educate people on what single definition is. It just tells me where the most pressure in your chart is. So one of the things that I want to say about this, though, the single definition and the way that you're here to respond and that you have that connection to your spleen, it's just a lot of jargon, but long story short, because you have a single definition and that conscious connection to your spleen, you really do have the capability of being able to be spontaneous or risky and it be healthy for you. So, what's good to keep in mind, is that you are a person who's able to be spontaneous and risky. And you need to also keep in mind that maybe being spontaneous and risky for others is not correct for them. Maybe they feel the comfort and the health of your spleen and they try to be risky and spontaneous with you and they end up being screwed and you're just like, yeah, I'm fine. But either way, like if you want to be spontaneous with someone, make sure that it's correct for them too, because it is correct for you to be spontaneous when you respond to being spontaneous or risky. For example, going into an unmarked van that has no windows on it in Chinatown in New York as I'm bartering for purses. I responded, this sounds safe. And my aunt on the outside of the car was like, fuck that. Just because it was safe for me doesn't necessarily mean that it was safe for everybody in the party. All right. So to finish off the words on the side, the profile and incarnation cross, we're not going to tell you what your purpose is. If you want to Google it, you're more than welcome to Google it. But what I need you to know about this is that even if you Google it, you may not resonate with this part of who you are. And that's why I don't really stick it into the basic overview of what you need to know, because you're not going to resonate with it anyways. I didn't resonate with it. My teachers didn't resonate with it. Why? It's because we spend our whole freaking life being something else, being someone else, living up to the expectations of what people want from us. So we find ourselves changing ourselves until we start getting back on track or in alignment with who we are. And then this our incarnation cross and profile starts to reveal itself because we are truly who we are meant to be instead of a version of or a copy of what people think we should be. You are your true self, so your profile and your incarnation cross start to emerge. Now, your purpose, your incarnation cross, if you want to Google this, make sure that you keep in left angle. And if anybody else wants to Google their purpose, then you need to also keep in, whether it says right angle, juxtaposition, left angle, you also need to keep the numbers in at the end because it matters. There's 3 different variations of each cross. So make sure if you Google it, left angle cross of defiance, and keeping those numbers in there as well. Now, like I said, you may not resonate with it, but there could be a chance that you resonate with it as well because people do have that spiritual journey. So I don't know where you are in your life. How am I to be the one who judges that? But this profile, this is your behavioral costume in life. And you are a person who is here to have something to say, to condition people or to be conditioned. So you are here to investigate what you are here to tell people. You may not feel like life is stable beneath your feet and you are going to investigate until you do feel like it's stable, or before you're even willing to talk about it or condition the other person with regards to what you have investigated. So now this could possibly be a hard profile. I believe that any profile that has a 5 in it is hard. And let me tell you why. As a 5, people expect you to be the next Buddha, the next coming, the next Lord, the next Savior, the next Goddess, the next coming, really. And, let's give you a very over-exaggerated example, because this is how over-exaggerated it is. So you're a baby, you just came out of the birth canal, I don't know, tummy or, birth canal, either way. And then you're out. And your cute little baby, brand new, perfect, so pure, and you cry because you just exited the womb. And then the people, the doctors, the parents are like, ugh, you're not the Buddha that we were expecting. You're a crying, shitting baby. It's like, if you're going to have a baby, it's going to be exactly like that until it's pretty much 18 years old. Cleaning it up after its diapers until it's 18 years old and they move out. But like, if you have a baby, you expect to take care of it. It's a lump of flesh that depends on you. So if you have a baby, you expect it to depend on you. You expect it to cry, burp, shit, etc. But that's the thing, is that as a 5, people expect you to be something more than you actually are. So it's like these people are harping on a baby for just being, and for just being itself, and just criticizing it because you're not our next savior, because you cried, you threw up a little, but the baby was just being a baby. And that's why I use this example, because it's ridiculous to even try to even like harp on a brand new baby, right? So why do people even harp on you and your experiences in life? You should do this. You should do that. I see you. I'm going to hate you. You're like in a tabloid. I'm going to mean, talk all of this stuff about you. So like, it's just, I'm sorry that people have such great expectations from you. But the thing is that you can live a life of peace and harmony through responding, because guess what? People are going to talk. It doesn't matter if you're the goddess anyways or not. People are still going to talk. Even if you are the idea of perfect, people are still going to talk. Oh, she's so perfect. Look at her. You know? So people are always going to talk. So you might as well just be you and not change yourself, and be your beautiful shining soul that you are. So you are a person who is here to be seen, and you are a person who is here to be the next Buddha or the next leader, you know? And you are here to investigate those things in life that you're here to be a leader or like the next Buddha of. So you may not recognize that right now, but once you start responding to life, you might recognize that a little bit. But my fiance is a 5, and he has a lot of pain in his life from his 5-ness. The expectations that people have on him, and him trying to fill them, and just being so disappointed afterwards and frustrated when people still consider him to be wrong anyways, and he tried so hard and blah blah blah. It's just like, it's just awful. Just be you. Just live you. So we're done actually talking about the words on the side. We're going to go into the chart, and we're going to talk about all the things inside the chart. Okay, so you have a fixed way of understanding your own pressure, your own adrenaline. And for you, it's actually important that you move. I'm not saying go to the gym every day. It's important that you do walk your dog. It's important that you do your yoga. It is important that you do, putter around the house and clean when you feel like you do need to. Or, I don't know, go pick something off at the shelf if you respond to like going through something. But movement is correct for you. And I'm not, whatever movement is correct for you is whatever the movement is correct for you. I'm not saying going to the gym. I don't know, maybe you told me exactly what you did today. Yoga, a walk the dog, and arm movements with bells. That's perfect. That's great. So it helped you really keep yourself in line. So you have a fixed way of understanding what's healthy for you and not, people, places, things, or experiences, and you understand when enough's enough. You have a fixed way of expressing that. Now, your energy is tribal and individual. So you have energy for the tribe, and you have this individual energy. Now, you might not resonate with that individual energy so much, but, what why struggle for something if it's not worth struggling for? And you have this tribal value / caring about you that you might resonate with. All right, so those are, I could talk about your energy in so long, but let's talk about this white aspect of you, your undefined aspects of who you are. So remember, this here is like the fixed aspect of who you are, so it's like what you're putting out into the world. But these are like windows, and this is where you can like receive things into the world, and things can get distorted. So if you're not acting your true self, so if you're not following your and then we can find some not self experiences or frustration here. So if you're not following your energy, what can we see in these particular centers? Well, you could be avoiding confrontation or truth, or you could be telling too many confrontations or too many truths. You could possibly try to identify with life, try to stick to one thing, but you're, who am I? And you're trying to force that idea of love, direction, or identity in life. That is a forced action. That's a not self. You're trying to be seen or not seen, hiding your little cubby hole, or, being super loud or crazy to get yourself noticed. You could possibly be rigid here or telling people what you know just to prove that you know. So I don't feel like this is you. I feel like you're on the rigid side of it. Is for me, I had I'm not going to talk unless I know I'm correct, because I don't want to be humiliated. So anytime that I talk, I will be correct because I have fact. It's been researched. So I promised myself in like grade 8 that I would never speak again unless I had fact. So that was the rigidity there. But another rigidity there is telling people, I know this. This is how I know. You should do it my way. So the not selfness of that is that as well. Now, I purposely kept this little triangle and triangle to the last because there's some pretty big oofs that could happen if you're in your not self. So this here is the head, and as you can see, it's wide open. There's no energy attached to it at all. There's no channels or gates. So that doesn't mean you're broken or anything. That just means you're wide open. So you're just this wide receptor of, you can experience everything in these particular centers. So I just want to say you could, maybe you don't know what to find inspirational and you want to try to find something inspirational, or try to find something to think about. So you force that. Or you don't know what to think about. Or you find yourself scrolling down the pages of TikTok or YouTube for like hours and hours and hours, just because, I don't know, you get stuck there somewhere within this little center here. This is also where you can see the not self of people taking over your personal space of, hey, if mine doesn't have the answer, they'll sure have the answer, and they'll sure get the answer, because if they don't know, they sure will go above and beyond to get that answer. So if people are taking advantage of your open mind and asking you to go get answers that have absolutely nothing to do with you, you should start responding to see if your yes or no is doing it, or if it's your brain trying to prove something. So for example, at my job, we transitioned into a whole new role. Everybody got all new roles, and me and 3 other people were the only people who understood how to do the new roles. That means that like 20 some people didn't know how to do their job. So for the first 2 weeks, I was like, guys, yes, I can help you. They called me, they called my team. And after 2 weeks, I was like, listen, guys, you need to do your effing work. It's not my fault that you don't know how to do your job after 5 years of working here. So I'm done. You took advantage of my space, but my clients are being affected right now because you guys don't know how to do your job. So I'm sorry. Learn how to do your effing job. I'm not taking your work anymore. So this is where a person could see themselves accumulating work, gathering piles of work at work, other people's stuff, having calls from people that, hey, Mai, do you know the answer to this? Oh, no, let me check it. So, obviously all the people's questions that are asked to you matter to you, but you really need to decipher what actually matters to you. So for example, my son obviously matters to me, but he like triggers this center all the time. And he's like, hey, mom, what time is it? Dude, you have like one electronic sitting in front of you that tells you the time if you click it on. The stove in the kitchen has the time. There's a clock on the wall. And you probably have 18 other freaking gadgets. Why are you asking me for the time? I know that if I just say it's 11:29 a.m. right now, you're done and you got it. But dude, you just derailed my process. I have very bad focus issues. And if I tell you the time, I will literally get derailed. So, son, I love you. Go find your own fucking time. But see, like, he matters to me, but that question doesn't matter to me because it wasn't what I was focusing on. Now, if by chance, hey, what time is it, mom? We got to get out of the house. If he's reminding me what time is it because we have something that we're committed to, that's a different question. But if he's just asking me because he's bored and he just is too lazy because he doesn't want to go check his own phone, screw him. I love you, but screw him. And any other person who tries to take your brain space that you're answering questions that don't matter. Where's my keys? Well, you're surely going to probably try to find them even though they're not your keys and you could have absolutely no clue where they are, but you're probably going to try to find them so you can have that mental pressure relieved. So, yeah, this can be a doozy. Not knowing what to think or taking on everybody else's thinking for them. So I left this one for the last on purpose. This is the heart center. It's not love. It's talking about willfulness and commitment. So as you can see, this one's wide open again as well. It doesn't mean that you're broken. It just means that you don't have consistent access to your willfulness. So you really need to understand what is correct for you with saying uh-huh or uh-uh. Because if you have this open, which 70% of the world does, you possibly are going to feel pressured to commit to things. The not self-expression of this is like, I need to prove myself. I need to go harder, better, faster, stronger, even without being asked. There is an offer of overtime at work and you weren't even asked and you are the person who takes it. There is an opportunity to do an essay in class and they ask for a half a page, but you do a full page. You're the person who stays 3 extra minutes after work. But this is like, the going better, the harder, better, faster, stronger to try to prove yourself, but you have nothing to prove, You're amazing. And it's usually out of trying to feel like enough or deserving or loved. I'm going to prove that I know how to conceptualize things so that I don't rock the boat at work. I'm going to prove that I have control over my emotions so that people know that I know where I'm headed in life. Oh my God, I just committed to something. I'm so overwhelmed and I don't know how to control this. And oh my God, I don't know what to think and I don't know how to talk about it. So I'm just going to be so anxious and overwhelmed until I think about it, until it's resolved. That's a natural process, is for you to be overwhelmed when you start something. So allow it to happen. But the not self feelings are, I'm not enough, I'm not deserving, I'm not loved, but it's not true at all. You are loved, you are deserving, you are enough. You just are possibly doing things in life that are not willfully correct for you. So what are you committing to? I wonder if sometimes when you're with someone and you excitedly commit to something and then you walk away, you're like, fuck, why did I just commit to that? That's kind of what happens when you're in other people's auras, because you feel like you have that consistent access to that willfulness because of different energetic hookups. So if you feel like you respond to telling the person that you want to not do it because you just don't have that willful energy, then you are allowed to tell people that you don't want to if you respond to doing that. Oh, I didn't actually even notice this right here until now. You actually have a lot of unique individual energy. People may call you a freak, and I think that's beautiful because people are going to call you a freak until they recognize your genius. I'm a freak. I have a lot of individual energy. How you doing, freak? How you doing? So you may resonate with that, yeah, I am a freak, y'all. And yeah, I am a genius, but people just haven't recognized my genius yet. What's cool about this particular energy is that you have a lot of Mutative energy. You mutate things. So you have a lot of firsts happen around you. For you, it's natural, but people might be very surprised at all the things that instantaneously happen as a first around you. People might be surprised. It's cool. But for you, you might be like, yeah, it's just the same old thing. New things happen around me all the time. So, once again, how do you like commit to the proper things? How do you make sure you're going in the proper direction and expressing the proper things and making sure that you're conceptualizing the proper things to think about and, you know, telling the proper truths when they need to be told? Well, you use your energy, your aha or to be able to tell you if it's a correct timing for you to be able to do so. And, you know, being overwhelmed is an okay emotion to have, but we're waiting to respond so that overwhelmedness doesn't overtake us and we just act on our programmed behavior. All right. So I'm going to tell you 70% of what you shine into the world. You are a 2. Your 2-ness starts here. The receptive, intelligent application, the strategist with Mercury exalted, reasoned management of resources, higher knowing as a gift for strategy. So you have this higher knowing as a gift for strategy, and you do have this role of what was that called again? The receptivity as the primal base through which any response is determined, the root of action. So apparently this is a root of action. This is intelligent application, higher knowing as a gift for strategy. And this, the law of necessity, revolution has no support unless it is perceived as necessary. So your revolutions may not have support until your revolutions are deemed as necessary. So if you're not self, you will see yourself the misuse of influence to insist that necessity can be created out of action. The helter-skelter syndrome, to commit acts of disorder as proof that disorder exists. Oversensitivity to rejection that can turn a principle into a crusade. Quite interesting. I don't understand that because this is your energy. The law of necessity. The 49, it sits here. Ooh. That is like the coming togetherness or the breaking downness. So like marriage and divorce. That's awesome. That's a lot of pressure on you as well right there too. You may not even resonate with it because you over-identify with the 2-ness of your profile or your design. All right. We could talk about you for like 18 more hours, but we got to stop somewhere. So the most important thing that you need to know about today is that you say and to allow your purpose to flow through you. And that you have this instantaneous access to this healthy movement in the moment as well. And that movement is correct for you. What you respond to, because it's going to keep you healthy.